Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to talk about the forecast in Tableau. Forecast is basically used for predicting the future trends with data. This powerful feature is like a crystal ball for the data analyst and visualization creators. It lets us speak into the future by using the past data patterns. With forecasting, we can make some informed decisions and anticipate the upcoming trends. So let's break it down. At its core, forecasting is all about predicting the future. It's like a data-driven project radar. By examining how things behaved in the past, it uses the clever math to show us what's likely to happen in the future. Tableau gives us various tools for forecasting like exponential smoothing and linear regression. Think of these methods as different lenses for looking into the future. The one we choose depends on the data that we are working with and the kind of insights that we are hunting for. Tableau is all about making your work look good. So, if your forecasting plays along, you can tweak in some style, colors, and labels to match the look and feel of your visualization also. It's like giving your crystal ball a personal touch. Since forecasts are just for fun, they are decision making tools. So we are not taking them lightly. Whether it's deciding how much budget to allocate to someone, whether to send resources, managing the inventory, or predicting the sales, forecasts can help us plan things smartly. Sometimes these things can not go as expected. So forecasting can help us deal with those surprises also. When we compare the forecasted values with the actual data, we can see where things went off and track how accurate a crystal ball really is. Now, let's talk a bit about the application of forecasting in different kind of industries. So, forecasting is used in many fields. In finance, it predicts the stock prices. In retail, it would help you to know what customers want before they do. In healthcare, it would ensure that we are ready for whatever patient numbers throw our way. By adding the forecasting to your Tableau creations, you become a data fortune teller. Whether you are peeking into the future markets, market trends, or any data set that needs a peek into tomorrow, forecasting is your go-to tool for making the data-driven decisions and proactive plan. So let's go to the Tableau screen and see how can we do the forecasting. So we are in our Tableau screen and we are working with a global superstore dataset. And I have already told you about this dataset multiple times that this contains order date and shipping date, and these are particularly date values. So whenever we are talking about the forecasting, and since we are talking about the forecasting, it will be looking into the upcoming future of any trend. So we need the past data also. And when we are talking about the past data, here we are talking about the date fields. We will be relating them to the various fields that are available, the various measures that are available. So let's say that I'm trying to find out what was the sales in the past. For that, I'll double click on the order date and double click on the sales. And it would give me the sales value throughout these years in the data set. Let me convert this graph into the line chart. After converting in the line chart, it is showing me the data for year wise. Let's try to find out the data in quarters. So now I've clicked on this plus icon and it has made my yearly data into the quarterly data. This is a continuous step. Now, if you look at this pattern, I can easily see that whenever the sales were started in the first quarter, the sales were very low. And as soon as it started progressing, the sales went high in the fourth quarter. And as the next year started, again the sales started going down. Then again it peaked at the ending of the particular year in the quarter four. So if we talk about this particular data, you can clearly identify the pattern that in the first quarter, the sales are very low. And as soon as we try to reach the end of the year, the sales go to high, and this is being continued throughout the data set. Now let's do some kind of forecasting on top. Let's first try to turn on the labels for this. So for that, I click on the label option and I'll choose 2 marks label. Now to see the forecasting, what I'll do is I can go in analytics option and here is the forecasting option. If you choose this forecasting option and drop it into your table, you can see the forecasting has been now applied. This forecasting is now being done for the next 1 year. So over here, I have this 2014 quarter 4 data, 2015 quarter 1 data, and for the 2015 quarter 4 data as well. So this is the estimated timeline of the forecasting. How do I know it? I can see it from the legend over here. The dark blue colors shows the actual one and the light blue is showing me the estimated one. Now let us talk about a bit more about this formatting and how we can do the formatting in this and how we can change the type of formatting that we are dealing with right now. If I go in the colors option and choose the edit colors option, you can see that I can change the color of this estimate also. So first what I'll do is I'll double click on this estimate and I'll choose some green color for it since it is increasing. So I have chosen this. Since it is the upcoming trend, that's why I have chosen this color. Now, if you want to change the path or something, you can go in the path and choose a different line patterns for it. Let's say I'm choosing this dotted line patterns and it would then apply these dotted line patterns to every line because it is showing the whole marks. Let me keep the solid line for now and let's see how we can do some additional formatting on it. So I click on this formatting line and I'll choose the format option for the forecast. So if I go in the forecast option, I can choose this forecast option. Here, you can see that the data it is taking right now is for the next 5 quarters. Over here, the forecast length is given and it is checking the forecast for the upcoming 5 quarters because it is right now chosen as the automatic. If you want to see the exact amount of forecast, let's take exactly in that case. For that case, what I'll do is I can choose any duration. Over here, I have this drop down. Let's say I don't want to see the duration of 1 year. Let me predict it for the upcoming 2 years. So I can put the value as 2 in over here, and this would then give me the trend for upcoming 2 years. If you don't want your scale to be on the years, you can choose the upcoming 2 quarters also, the upcoming 2 weeks, months, or any amount of time that you want from this particular drop down. For now, let us keep it as the years only. After choosing this, you can see that it is now showing me the data for exactly 2 years. Now, there is one more option which is known as until. Until means the last point. So, until what time you want to show your data. So, here also you can put your amount of time that you want. Let's say I want to show until 2 years. So, you can keep it until 2 and you can choose the years from over here. Let us right now keep it as automatic only. And it would show me the data for the next 5 quarters. After that, I have this aggregated by option. Aggregated by option is telling me on what basis is this data aggregated. Since right now it is the quarterly data, so that's why it is showing me that it has been aggregated on the quarterly basis. If you don't want to see the quarterly growth of any data and if you want it to be aggregated on any other time field, you can choose it from over here. Let's say I'm taking years. So it would be then considering the yearly format. If I take months, it would be taking the monthly formats. For right now, I'll be choosing this quarters only. Then we have this ignore last option. If you see these two values are not connected because the last value has been ignored in this case. If you don't want to ignore the last value, what you can do is over here in the ignore last, you can put the value as 0 and it would show you the last values also. If you choose this fill in missing values option, this would be filling your missing values with zeros. So whatever amount of data is present in your data set, and if there are any missing values, sometimes we need to fill those missing values. If you want these missing values to be filled with 0 itself, you can choose this fill in the missing values with 0 and it would fill those missing values. Over here, the forecast model option is given. There are two options in this. The first one is automatic. The second one is automatic without seasonality. So if you don't want to see the seasonal trends in your data. Now, what do I mean by the seasonal trend? So there are multiple things that follow a seasonal pattern. For example, if you are into fruits business, you can see there are some seasonal fruits. And as the season comes, their rise in sales increases. So there is too much rise in the sales. Now, if I talk about the other seasons, they are not in too much demand. So that time, if you are going to track the data of the sales of those specific fruits throughout a duration of let's say 10 years, you would be seeing that whenever the season comes, the sales increases for those particular fruits. So that is particular seasonal pattern in which we see that whether there is seasonality in any kind of data points in our data. If there is, and if you want to consider it, you can choose the automatic option. If you don't want to consider that seasonality, you can choose this automatic without seasonality. The last option over here is custom. Now, this custom option would tell you whether you want to choose a trend and whether you want to choose a season. So in the trend option, there are two options, additive and multiplicative. And in the season also, there are these two options, additive and multiplicative. Now, what do you mean by additive and multiplicative? The additive model is useful when the seasonal variation is relatively constant over time. The multiplicative model is useful when the season variation increases over time. So right now, I'm just trying to keep it as automatic. And it would be taking it the automatic effect of the seasons end. Let's keep the ignore last 1 quarter only. Over here, the last option is for the slope prediction intervals. It is for the confidence interval that we are seeing. So right now it is making the prediction, but you can see that there is this green line which is expanding. So it is showing you that this can be the sales in the upcoming quarters, but it is not so short that it would be the exact figure of let's say 13 lakh 82,850. It can vary and it can be in this particular range, whatever this shading region is trying to tell. And it is trying to tell us this particular thing by 95% confidence. If you don't want it to be at 95% confidence, you can choose the 90% option also. And this would then decrease that particular trend. You can see the area under this shading has now decreased because it is now 90% sure that trend would be following in this particular shading region only. If you want to increase the trend and if you want to increase the confidence interval, you can choose the 99% option also. And now you can see this spread has now increased. So right now it is 99% sure that this particular graph would be falling into this particular zone only, wherever it is shading. So these are some of the things in which you can try to apply the forecasting on our current data set. Now let's try to do it on the profits also. Again, I'll click on the plus icon. This time I'm taking the order date and the profits. After choosing the order dates and profit, I need to convert it into the line chart. After converting it into the line chart, let me take the data for the quarters. So I click on the plus sign to show the quarters. I choose the label option and choose the show marks label option. And I can go with the analytics option and choose the forecast option. I'll drag and drop this on the top of the table and it would give me the forecasting for my upcoming profit. Now, if you want to edit this, you can go in the color option. If you want to change the line type, you can go in the path option. If you want to find out the other options that are present, again, you can do the right click on that particular line and choose the forecast options. Now, there is another option which is known as describe forecast. So here it is telling you on what basis it has taken that particular forecast. So here is that summary. You can include this particular summary on the top of your particular presentation. So let's say if I'm making any presentation and if I'm trying to tell them that this is my forecast for the upcoming profit. Now they will ask me multiple questions. On what basis have you decided that we would be getting this particular profit? So there are many things. These are some of the profit values that I have considered from the past. This is the change that has been happened. If there is some seasonal high, effect low, or the contribution, I can list it over here. I can also try to find what is the quality of this particular estimation. So it is good. Now over here, it is also showing the seasonal patterns are for the 4 quarter cycle and what are the other parameters that has been considered. If you go in the models, you can find the additional information in this particular box. So you can take all these values over here. You can see root mean squared error is also given, mean absolute error is also given. So these are some of the numbers that you can show in the presentation, which would make your presentation look good. And it would be then providing some confidence to your stakeholders that this prediction has been done on the basis of these numbers. So if these numbers are good, then obviously your presentation would be good. If these numbers are not making sense in that case, you need to work out and include some other things also. So I hope this session was clear on the forecast and how to create some forecast on different values of sales and profits. And you can also try it on the top of other measures. So this was all for this presentation. Thank you.